Well, hey, good evening. Welcome back to my little gardening show. We got the littles with me. Right out to the garden. We got check on things. We're not going to do a whole lot tonight. Really, what the main goal is to harvest some greens. Which, you know what? Can you go in and get a Kroger sack?
Why?
Can you go in and get one?
Why?
Because we need a sack to put
the greens in.
the greens in.
Grandpa has tons of Kroger sacks.
Well, he might not be home though. He tutors. Can you just run in the house, grab one real quick?
Yes.
Okay. Quickly. Quickly. Let's go. The door should be unlocked. You just go right in the house and get a Kroger sack or two.
I'll just get to you.
Okay.
Ow.
So we're heading over to the garden. We're gonna harvest some greens to use for like lunches and dinners and stuff like that. And I'm gonna apply some fertilizer mix to the garden. You know, feed the plants. I'll be doing about a teaspoon of fertilizer mix. I do need to get a little bit more of the triple 15. I've got some of the Mittleider micro mix minerals here. I don't think I'm gonna mix any packets tonight. I've still got enough to cover the garden for probably 3 or 4 more applications at least. It really doesn't take that much fertilizer minerals to keep the plants fed. Pretty much a teaspoon per plant, teaspoon to tablespoon depending. Probably a tablespoon for the tomatoes, a teaspoon for smaller plants. As they get larger, maybe up that to a tablespoon around the like square foot area around the root zone of the plants. That seems to be enough to keep things going. Pretty much what I do is I just watch the plants and look for signs of deficiency. We've had a ton of rain recently here in Ohio, so things are a little yellowish, like a lighter green, like washed out color, because there's just been so much moisture here lately. So consequently, that requires a little bit more application of the minerals to keep things going, you know, since things are being diluted so much. So here we go. All right, so we're out at the garden. I've got the littles with me tonight. The goal tonight is to check on the plants and go ahead and apply some fertilizer as they're starting to pick up some steam. So let me walk you through the garden and just kind of show you how things are doing at this point. We planted everything Memorial Day weekend, so basically as far as the warm weather stuff, cold weather stuff's been in about 2 weeks before that or so. So I'll just take you along and show you how things are going. All right, first things first, you know, this past weekend we spent some time out here weeding, and I had told you that, you know, the little weed starts that we had kind of disturbed or broke away from their roots would shrivel up and die, and sure enough they have. I mean, you don't see really anything green remaining around the onions, as most of that stuff dried up and is no longer there. The onions are looking really good. I just applied some of the Mittleider mineral mix to everything that's in the garden here. Now, one thing about the Mittleider method is that you're not feeding these plants all the way up to the point of harvesting it the next day. You back off like probably at least 2 weeks prior to harvest on these crops, like when they're pretty much mature. There's an old chart guide to that. Again, it's a very forgiving method. I'm not doing it down, you know, exactly to a T. Most of these plants, I'm applying a teaspoon to a tablespoon of the Mittleider mineral mix to the root zone, like the square foot around, which I think that's what it calls for, just kind of applying it by linear foot, and having some really good results. I'll show you the greens here. We'll zoom in on a couple things and show you. For example, this Jersey Wakefield cabbage, it's doing really good. It's got really good color. The head's starting to develop. There isn't any pest pressure on this plant. The broccoli, same way. We got a little head that's developing there. We've got some more cabbages down here. Swiss chard, same thing. It's really just taken off. We've harvested some leaves from the plants. I'm going to actually harvest some tonight. Most of these greens are doing really well. And probably my favorite green is the dinosaur kale or the lacinato kale. It's got a really good texture, really good flavor. It's good to pick it while it's young before it gets to be like a big tree. So lots to harvest here. No eggs, no pest pressure so far. Now part of that's because of the weather. It's been so wet and so cool. Some of the insects we normally see are not present yet, but they're coming. As soon as it gets dry enough, warm enough, consistently, we'll probably see more of those pests. Other plants in the garden, they're a little yellowish, but they're starting to develop their color. For example, these peppers. You know, about a week ago, they were kind of yellowish, like really bleached out. And you can see where the color is coming back in, and the new growth is really bright green. That's because they're starting to finally take root, and also the supplement of the minerals seems to be doing the trick. My potatoes, kind of same deal. Everything's looking really good. I got a little bit of flea beetle pressure on these. Flea beetles normally attack the plants that are a member of the same family, like the potatoes. They really love the eggplant. Will attack that first. That seems to be their preference, but they'll do the other nightshade crops like tomatoes, potatoes, even peppers. But they go after, it seems like, the potatoes and the eggplant first. I don't know if it's the texture of the leaves or whatnot. But overall, not very much pest pressure at all. Maybe we got lucky with the Colorado potato beetle. We caught them early. Or maybe they're just not here yet. We did crush a few of the eggs, a few of the adults that we saw early on. But the potatoes are doing really well. Now we're gonna have to hill these potatoes. I'll probably try to do that this next weekend. Pile up some dirt among them, because as they grow and those potatoes start to grow out from the roots, there needs to be space for those potatoes to go. If not, they'll be exposed to the sun, they'll turn green, and they'll be poisonous. We're not gonna be able to eat them. Whereas if we keep them covered, they keep them from going through that. And they'll produce more, you know, to a degree. They're not indeterminate, so it's not like we can continue to hill, and they'll grow. It's, you know, one hilling will probably be good enough for these. We'll go through in our lettuce patch. We just threw this in like loose leaf. It's doing well. There's a few areas that I don't know what happened there, but for the most part, everything's doing good. I don't know if maybe Dad tried to harvest some of this and it just wasn't ready yet and he ended up killing it, or if something else happened there, somebody stepped in it. But anyway, in about 2 weeks, this will be ready to harvest. The one crop that hasn't come in real good yet is the green beans. I'll show you that real quick. We had this happen last year. We didn't get a real good germination rate. This year, instead of it being the seed, I think it's the weather conditions. Like some of these beds got washed out a little bit. I didn't have them hilled up tall enough. So I had the kids try to go through and replant some, but this initial harvest of green beans, it's not going to be as good as it's been in previous years because of the weather and just getting a late start on the season. I'll get an initial harvest. I don't know if we'll have them by the 4th of July or not. Hopefully we'll have some. But then the plan is that I'll pull these plants, we'll re-prep all these beds, and I'll probably do a whole nother planting later in the summer, and should get a better germination rate, hopefully. We'll see what happens. We do have a little bit of pest pressure on these bean beetles, chewing holes in some of these plants. We have that every year, but by and large they're doing okay. The tomatoes, they've gotten off to a slow start. Looks like Dad's getting ready to pull in. Hey, Grandpa's home, honey. You wanna go say hi to him? Tomatoes got off to a little slow start. Part of that is because it's been so wet that the root zone of the plants, the plants were kind of drowning a little bit, and it was kind of cooler conditions, but they're finally starting to take root, so let me show you. Yeah, so they're doing really good. We've got a lot of new growth. It's green, we got some blossoms, that's a good sign. Some of the lower leaves, again, we got some flea beetle pressure that's on them. These were kind of like a palish green, but they're starting to green up real nice because it's been a little drier. We've had a reprieve as far as the constant rain every day, so things have had a chance to drain and dry out a little bit, and the tomatoes are liking it. Why don't you go up and say hi to Grandpa? We got 48 plants this year. I've only lost one, and that was my mistake. I accidentally got my foot caught in some twine, and I basically ripped the plant in half. But fortunately, we had extras, so we were able to replant that pretty quick. I haven't had any issues. I haven't lost any plants. Things have been going pretty good. Let me show you the cucumber, squash, and all that good stuff. Now we're going over to the pumpkins and the cucumbers and all that good stuff. We're gonna have to apply some fertilizer mix to that. Let me show you. The cucumbers are doing pretty good. They're greening up, but a little bit of a slow start.
What about the watermelons?
Yeah, we'll look at them. The squash, again, signs that maybe things are poor drainage or just a little bit waterlogged. The plants are kind of a palish green, and just it's taking them a while to get started.
Which is a hay.
Some signs, some yellow there. Watermelons are doing really well, though really slow. We probably won't see any watermelons till like September or October, honestly. It's going to take them a while to get going. They just take a lot of heat days, like days to maturity. When you look at the back of the seed packets, you know, it will give you an estimate. And typically the watermelons take about 4 months. A lot of the old time varieties and stuff. There's some that are bred for northern climates. These aren't. This is the Artcombs Ancient Watermelon. Really good flavor, but it's going to be a while before we see any. I'd be surprised if we got any before September. You need to go potty?
No, peas.
We didn't do peas yet.
Can we do peas over here?
We might. We'll see. This is my sister's pumpkin patch, and she's got pumpkins all over the place. We got them marked. They got plenty of room to spread out. I don't know how she's taking care of these, if she's doing anything. I will probably put down some Mittleider mineral mix on these as well. And what we'll see if we follow this over time, this stuff that's kind of bleached out, you know, or showing some signs of deficiency, that stuff will green out. This stuff may slough off, but the new growth will be really bright green. It should do really well. It should really take off, assuming that they don't get hit by pests. So what I want to do now is I'll take you along as I'm going to fertilize my cucurbits, the cucumbers, squash, and watermelon here real quick with the Mittleider mineral mix. So here's my Mittleider weekly feed. It's a 15, a mineral packet, some Epsom salt. I've got them in a little container here. About that much per plant is going to be enough to really get things going. Alright, so we got our mineral mix. And typically what I'll do, except, you know, I'm going pretty quick.
I want to do this with the glove on.
I'll take about a tablespoon, between a teaspoon and a tablespoon, toss it right there at the root zone. How about you film me?
Yeah.
No. Keep your fingers like that, okay? Whatever you see on the screen is what's going on, baby doll, okay? I'll follow this. So we're just gonna throw that down at the plant. So anyway, you get the idea. I'm going to go around to all these plants and put about between a teaspoon and a tablespoon of the mineral mix right there around its root zone. And then the next time it rains, it will wash that in. The roots will pick that up because it's water-soluble minerals.
Daddy, did you do
And they'll use it to fuel growth, you know, part of their growth. So
Can I do
you can do those. My dad got home. We got some extra seed potatoes left over.
this? What about this one?
So we've got an extra space over there, and I think we're going to plant some more seed potatoes tonight. Just go ahead and plant those out.
This much?
So we got our almost 50, it's about a 50-foot row here, dead tilled up.
Yeah.
Come on, let's finish it up, bud.
We're probably going to fit about
Dug the
20.
furrow, put some garden lime down. They're putting seed potatoes. These are all leftovers from last year. And there's some good ones in there.
Yeah, we'll make
Get a good crop.
another crop of potatoes, which we'll probably give away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, praise the Lord.
Yeah. So it's looking good.
Yeah, well, at least we made use of the space. And potatoes are a relatively easy crop to maintain, you know, so
Yeah.
just keep the bugs off of them.
Yeah. So far we've been lucky. No bugs really, or not many bugs on the other ones.
Right.
All right, guys, good job.
Wait, one
You got more to put in?
Say we have 2 more to plant.
All right, put them in there.
Can I just put them in with dirt now?
Yeah, we'll get some dirt on there. Hey, use a potato hoe, bud. That big. See that hoe at the end of the row? All right, we're gonna close this furrow in. I'm gonna put some Midlighter mineral mix down, and then we're gonna put these tools away and be done for the evening. We still got some greens to harvest I want to pick before we leave tonight. So anyway, I guess that's it for now. Till next time. Happy gardening.
Daddy?
Bye.
Before you came round, my heart would never beat much faster. Before you came round, I was ready to slow down.